So now let's talk about a different type of jump. What we're going to do is create a jump where if you press the button lightly, he jumps a little bit, and then if you jump and hold, he'll jump a little bit higher. This is a technique that's used in a lot of platformers to give the player a range of different type of jump motions in addition to the double jump that we had set up previously. Now, we're not going to be able to add all of these features into our existing jump, so what we're going to do is also look at how to extend an existing behavior and add additional logic on top of it. Let's go into our scripts folder and into behaviors and create a new script called long jump. We'll open up long jump in MonoDevelop, and now we'll need to add a few properties to manage the actual jump delay, the jump multiplier, and whether we can do the actual long jump and if the long jump is actually happening. To get started, let's create a public float, and we'll call this long jump delay. Next, we'll create a public float again, and we'll call this long jump multiplier. Here we'll set the value to 1.5. What we'll do is we'll use the long jump multiplier to multiply the base speed of jump when we detect that the long jump delay has occurred. Next, we'll need a Boolean to keep track of whether we can actually do the long jump. And finally, we'll need another Boolean to keep track of whether we're actually long jumping. Now, we don't want to rewrite all the logic we had in jump, so let's extend the jump class. And in this case, we're not going to use start and update. Let's get rid of these. But before we actually start working with the code in the long jump, let's go back into our jump class and take a look at update. By default, update is a private method, and there's no way that we can extend it when we extend jump. In order to fix that, let's make this protected, and we'll make it virtual. In C#, this flags the method, allowing us to use the override keyword when we actually extend the class and want to override any logic in this method. By going back into long jump, now we can correctly override the protected update method in the original jump class. If we were to run this, it actually wouldn't work, and that's because we're not calling up to the base update method. So let's just add this in so we don't forget. Here, we'll just call base update. This will take care of all the other jump logic that we created. But we're going to want to add some logic before and after the actual update so that we can keep track of whether we're going to do a long jump and also apply the additional velocity we'll need to make the long jump happen. So now, let's go into jump, and now we're going to copy out these two variables of can jump and hold time, since we'll use these again in our own long jump update method. We'll paste them down above update, and now let's add a quick condition to test if we can jump. If can jump equals false, we want to reset the can long jump to equal false as well. This means that we can't do a long jump, obviously, if we can't jump. Next, we want to test whether we're standing and if the isLongJumping is still triggered. If this is the case, that means that we were previously doing a long jump and we've just landed, so we need to reset that value as well. So here, we'll look for collision state, standing, and isLongJumping. And if that's the case, we'll reset isLongJumping back to false. Then we can use our normal jump logic we had in the previous class, which will allow us to do the jump and the double jump. But afterwards, what we want to do is detect whether there's been the delay of holding the key down for a certain amount of time and whether we should add some additional velocity. So here, let's test if we can long jump and making sure that the collision state is not standing and also that the hold time is greater than the long jump delay. Now, we'll be able to detect that we've actually been holding the button down for a little bit longer, and because of this, we're going to reapply a stronger velocity as we move the player up. Here we'll need to get the current velocity, and now we'll reapply it. We'll do exactly what we did before in jump, except here we'll use the jump speed, and we'll multiply this by the long jump multiplier. What this is doing is we're simply rewriting the body 2D velocity to be twice the normal jump speed. Here, we'll reset the can long jump to false because we've already done one long jump, and we'll let everything know that we're already in the middle of a long jump. The last thing we need to do is override our onJump method and allow it to reset the can long jump. Here, we'll use the protected keyword and override our onJump. We'll call the base onJump, and since we're jumping, we'll set the can long jump to true. Now let's save our script and go back into Unity. We'll select the player, and we're going to disable the current jump and add the new long jump script to it. Next, we're going to modify some of the values. First, we're going to need to map this to the B key, just like we did with jump previously. Next, we're going to change the jump speed to 150. This way, the initial jump will be shorter than when it's multiplied when we detected the button's been held down for longer. The last thing we're going to want to do is reset the dust effect prefab to the dust puff that we created earlier. If we save this and run the game, you'll see that if we just lightly hit the jump key, he only jumps a little bit. If we hold it down, you'll see that he jumps higher. If you continue to hit jump, you'll see we'll do an additional jump in the air. Now, you'll notice that this might look a little strange when we do a long jump, simply because we're adding an additional force. So we can do things like lower the modifier to maybe 1.2 and try the long jump again, and you'll see that it's a little bit smoother. If you stop the game and you like the value that you tweak it to, make sure you go back through and reset that. Here, I'm going to bring it back down to 1.2, so when it jumps and we detect the long jump, it's not so jarring that we apply more velocity. At this point, we've wrapped up jump, and we're now ready to look at some new behaviors, such as how to make the player duck.